If you're not failing, you're not pushing yourself. If you're not failing, you aren't trying something new. You're sitting, you're resting on your laurels, and that's not going to result in success. And so entrepreneurship has been, and motherhood in a lot of ways, has been this just constant reminder that it's okay to fail. And I try to look at failure as redirection. And it's just a little bit of a course correction to get me where I want to go. And failure in a lot of ways is just information.
Welcome to Overwhelmed and Over It, the podcast where founders come to drop the hustle culture BS and learn how to actually enjoy building their business. I'm your host, Gabs, and I believe your success as a founder shouldn't come at the cost of your sanity. Each week, we bring you real, unfiltered conversation with founders who are figuring it out just like you are. No sugarcoating, no highlight reels, just honest stories and actionable lessons that help you navigate your founder journey with more clarity and confidence. Whether you're building your first company or scaling your fifth, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
Right.
Laura, I am so excited we were doing this. You and I have done this already on your podcast, and it was such a freaking blast. And so I'm excited to introduce you to the Overwhelmed and Over It community, because when I think of a founder whose content that I binge for like practical tips to get my shit together, it's you. So Laura, do you want to introduce yourself and share a little bit of your founder journey?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm always excited for an opportunity to chat, and anytime I get to spend with you, Gabs, is good time. My name is Laura Sinclair. I am based out of Barrie, Ontario, Canada, so I'm about an hour north of Toronto. For anyone wondering why my voice sounds like it sounds, it's because I am Canadian. I am a mentor for early stage female entrepreneurs. I work with a lot of moms. I have a corporate marketing background, a PR background. Left that world. I ran a brick and mortar gym for 5 years until COVID happened and the world shut down for 2 weeks out of an abundance of caution. And I was 8 weeks pregnant with my second child. So shifted my whole life. I closed the gym, started supporting entrepreneurs in using marketing better, social media better, and things have kind of just snowballed from there. And now I find myself really doing top to bottom mentorship, helping women get out of their own way, start taking the action, using strategies that actually make sense for mom entrepreneurs, because I really do believe that when we put more money in the hands of women, the world's going to be a better place.
Amen. We could just stop the podcast right there. That's it.
And good
Go
night.
follow. Yeah. Mic drop moment. Go follow Laura for all of the tips and we're done. But no, seriously, Laura, I do genuinely feel like every time I see you posted something, I'm like, stop whatever I'm doing. You're one of those people. I'm like, I have to go binge it because I know I'm either going to learn something or I'm like, save it for later. It's something I want to go back and try. One of the reasons I think that's true for me is because you're, in my eyes, really great at the reflection point of this entire journey you've taken. And I think even just in your introduction right there, you shared a lot of this thing has not been linear at all. And you've had to make a lot of different decisions along the way. As you look back along that journey, what's one of those big light bulb moments that stands out for you that you would tell someone who's just getting started?
Yeah, I mean, I think you really need to not be fixated on the destination. I think it's so easy to think, okay, this is the place that I'm going to be in 2 years, 5 years, but you don't even know who you're going to be in that time. You don't know what's coming your way. There's so much of this journey that you can't control. And I think one of the things that I'm super proud of myself for is just being open to other ideas and other alternatives and being able to pivot when things haven't really gone my way. And there's been lots of instances in my journey where things have not gone my way. And I've learned how to fail forward and know that if something isn't working, that it's okay to pivot. And so there's two sides of it, right? You want to make sure you're sticking with a thing long enough to know that it doesn't work, but you also need to know when it's time to abandon that thing and find the next thing. And so I think for me, it would just be open to what comes. Don't be fixated on like, this is the only way, because chances are that's probably not.
Oh, fail forward. I think that's such a good way to look at it, because I think we always talk about being afraid of failure, right? Or fear of
Yeah.
failure. And it's like the reality is if you're choosing to be an entrepreneur, part-time, full-time, dip your toe in time, like any piece of it, you're going to fail.
Yep.
That's the sure thing of it. It's just how big, how bad, how many times, and where do you fail is what we learn along the way. And so I think if you look at it as each time you do, you're learning something. It is propelling you into a different direction, or the direction you're intended to go in or intended to head down. You're learning a lot about yourself in that process and about the business that you actually want to build. And that's what's the most powerful of it all.
Yeah, you don't have a choice in entrepreneurship. I really do believe that if you're not failing, you're not pushing yourself. If you're not failing, you aren't trying something new. You're sitting, you're resting on your laurels, and that's not going to result in success. And so entrepreneurship has been, and motherhood in a lot of ways, has been this just constant reminder that it's okay to fail. And I try to look at failure as redirection. And it's just a little bit of a course correction to get me where I want to go. And failure in a lot of ways is just information. It's like, okay, that didn't work. So then how can I adapt and figure out what will? And that doesn't mean that I don't spend time crying about things, because I sure do. I will sit in it, I'll feel the feels, let it come. And then it's like, okay, what can I learn from this? What is this telling me? And how do I grow? Because I think if you approach failure that way, then you're going to be just fine.
So beautiful. All right. I want to talk about what's coming up for you. I know you just did a really beautiful rebrand to really just elevate this Mother Means business and how
Yeah.
you show up in this world. But like you said, doesn't mean that you aren't still going to have failures to come, that you aren't still going to have lessons on the other side of that. So, what are you looking at these days as next things that are overwhelming you when it comes to the business?
Yeah, you know what? This year has been really tough for me in a lot of reasons. I broke my leg at the beginning of this year, and it's really been an invitation for me to think about how I'm going to do things differently, and truly an invitation to look at, okay, what happens when you're not available? And I had to learn some really interesting lessons about my own business in terms of, okay, when I break my leg, things are going to come to a bit of a grinding halt. And so the thing that's keeping me up right now is, how do I build something that is bigger than just me? And that's where this Mother Means business comes in. And I have really big goals for that community. I'd love to have 1,000 women inside of this Mother Means business, which is my community for mom entrepreneurs. It's also the name of my podcast. But for me, it's like, how do we build businesses as solopreneurs, as entrepreneurs, whatever season, however you label yourself in business, but how do you build it so that if you are to fall and break your leg, that still exists? And so for me, as a person that is a mentor, there's so much of my business up until this point that's really relied on me. And if I have an accident, or if I'm tired or something happens, my business is affected by that. And so for me, I think the challenge is into 2025 and beyond is, how do I start to build something bigger than just me? And that's where I'm heading with this Mother Means business. And certainly that's the thing that keeps me up at night.
And I think that's hard, right? And many of us get into entrepreneurship because we are the magic.
Yeah.
Whether it is we've been willing to fail faster than those who are coming to us for mentorship, or we've been somewhere that someone wants to go, or we just look at the world a little bit different, whatever it may be, we have that 10,000-foot view that brings this kind of magical perspective that someone else needs in their business. And that's what makes us really good at our work. And it's not as simple to say, oh, just throw that in a course or throw that in a
No.
download guide. People's businesses are so individualized to them and what they're doing, and they're the magic in their business. And so I certainly sympathize with you, because I go through that a lot myself, where it's like, okay, building a business that's sustainable and scalable are sometimes two different sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
And which lane am I choosing to live in right now, or which one is most important and biggest priority for me at the moment?
Yeah. And for me, it's both. I love nothing more than linking arms. Women come into my private mentorship, or they come into my mastermind. They're coming in for 6 months or 12 months at a minimum. And so it's really this partnership where I'm linking arms with people. And that's beautiful. And I love it. I love the ability to really feel like I'm a partner in someone's business without taking any equity at all, right? And just being fully invested in their growth. And that's something that, I mean, ultimately isn't scalable, right? It's not, I can't have more time. I can't find more energy. It's like, that's not a scalable thing. It's like, I'm going to be doing that with a handful of women every year, because that's where I have to place my energy. But it also means that at the end of the day, I don't have anything to sell, right? I'm not building something that's exitable. I'm not building something that is legacy for me to hand down to my own children. And so I think those are some of the conversations that I've been finding myself having, at least with myself and even some of my peers, in terms of, I want to be able to help so many more women than just, we'll call it 20, 30 women that come into close proximity mentorship with me every year. And a lot of them stay. So it may be 20 to 30 women that are in close proximity mentorship with me over the next 3 to 4 years. And so how do I help more women? And that's where this Mother Means business really came from. It was sort of a twofold, right? I want to be able to help more people to have access to the things that I know, and access to the magic that I bring, and then the magic within the community that I've built over the last 3 years in the online space. Because I don't mind bragging when I say I have the best women in my world. They're so cool, and I love hanging out with them, both virtually and in real life. And so for me, it's like this two-pronged piece where I want to be able to help as many people as possible, and selfishly as a business owner to build something that is there and will be, peer-led and continue to grow the next time I break my leg, which please don't let that happen anytime soon.
Yeah, I just saw something on LinkedIn this morning actually that I thought was so beautiful. As a true like measure of business success, she said for the first time ever, she went away on vacation and completely disconnected. And she said it was so powerful to come back and see that the community she had built inside of her business ran the business almost better than she did, right? And
Yeah.
it just kept running and they took care of it. And that is such pride. Like when you think about the proud moment as a business owner of what you've
Yeah.
built in the community you've built, it's that these peers jump in, they take care of each other, and we get to see everyone win and everyone build together. So I really love what you're doing. And I'm one of your biggest fans, Laura, and love any chance I get to support you. As you're heading into 2025, Laura, and really looking at this next big goal, how can we support you? What's your biggest support you need right now?
Yeah, I think it's really just connection. So helping to spread the word and the conversation around this Mother Means Business and what's happening in my world. I think there's a lot of conversations around motherhood and entrepreneurship that feel really fluffy. And these are the ones that I dislike, right? Where it's like, oh, I'm a mom and I also have this like cute other business that I do. And the women that are in my world are really passionate, they're ambitious, they have big, big goals, and they're moms and they're passionate about motherhood and want to be devoted mothers. And so for me, it's letting more women know that there are spaces like this, and that if that's you, if you are a person that, I always think of it as an and. I love my children so much, but when I introduce myself, it's not, I'm Laura, I'm a mom. I'm
Yep.
Laura, I'm a mentor, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a businesswoman, I'm an investor, I'm an author, I'm a podcaster, and I'm a mom. Right? I'm all of these things. I was a whole person before I had kids. And so for me, it's like if you resonate with that and you want to come hang out with me in my community of This Mother Means Business, listen to the podcast. If you know of other women that resonate with that, I also have my mastermind. The doors to my mastermind are going to be opening. We have a February 2025 start for the next round of the Ambition Mastermind. So if any of that resonates with you, or you want to just listen to some really real conversations about what it's like to live in that space, then definitely check out the podcast, This Mother Means Business.
I'm so glad we got to do this, Laura. Like you said, anytime you and I get to chat, it's always a fun time. I think we kept it pretty close to 10. I'm really proud of
That was the
us.
fastest 10 minutes of my life.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Overwhelmed and Over It. I'm your host, Gabs. Until next time, remember, you're not behind, you're not failing, and you've freaking got this.